Okay, so we're going to get started. The meeting of the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations is called to order. Pursuant to Illinois Executive Order 2020-07 issued on March 16, 2020, suspending provisions of the Open Meetings Act and encouraging remote participation. This meeting is conducted by video conference. As a matter of order, the Budget Committee procedures are as follows. We'll take public testimony at the beginning of the meeting. Public testimony will be limited to 3 minutes for each speaker pursuant to Rule 58E. Public comment will be limited to 30 minutes in total. Members of the committee will be recognized first for questioning in the order of their respective wards, followed by non-members who are instructed to use the raise your hand feature. Please mute your microphone if you are not speaking. If at any time you wish to make a point of clarification or a point of order or a point of information while your colleague is speaking, please use the raise your hand function to be recognized and then unmute your microphone. We will now have a roll call to establish a quorum. Please make sure your microphone is unmuted. Thank you. Alderman Chairman Vice Chair Silverstein. Alderman King. Alderman Hairston.
Here.
Alderman Sawyer. Alderman Mitchell. Alderman Harris. Alderman Solowski Garza. Alderman Thompson.
We didn't get the message.
Alderman Cardenas. Alderman Quinn.
Here.
Alderman Moore. Alderman Curtis. Alderman O'Shea.
Here.
Alderman Brookins. Alderman Rodriguez. Alderman Tabares.
Here.
Alderman Scott. Alderman Burnett. Alderman Ervin. Alderman Taliaferro. Alderman Raboris.
Here.
Alderman Wagisback.
Here.
Alderman Austin. Alderman Ramirez Rosa.
Present.
Alderman Villegas.
Here.
Alderman Mitz.
Here.
Alderman Spizzato.
Here.
Alderman Napolitano.
Present.
Alderman Reilly. Alderman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Tunney.
Here.
Alderman Kappelman.
Here.
Alderman Osterman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Alderman
There are
Ervin is here.
17 members present. Who just called out?
Alderman Ervin.
Hi,
Yeah.
Alderman Ervin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Alderman Burnett is here too.
We have 19 members present. We have a quorum. At this time, we will begin the public comment period, but the committee has been informed that no public speaker has called in to speak at today's committee meeting. So this concludes the public comment period. There are 4 items on today's agenda. Item number 1 on the agenda is approval of the March 2020 monthly Rule 45 report for the Committee on the Budget and Government Operations. Do I have a motion to accept the amended 2020 monthly report?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Ervin, I think that was. The amended report corrects the attendance record and was distributed to all aldermen yesterday. Can I have a motion made by someone to accept the amended? Moved by Alderman Mitz to accept the amended monthly report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, in the opinion of the chairs, the ayes have it. Are there any questions for my colleagues for this report?
Alderman Silverstein is here.
Alderman Silverstein is here. Okay, so this item has passed the committee. Item number 2 on the agenda, an ordinance concerning an amendment to the annual appropriation ordinance year 2020 within Fund 925 for the Department of Public Health and the Department of Family and Support Services. Do I have a motion to accept the substitute ordinance which was distributed on Friday?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Villegas. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, in the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And we will have the substitute ordinance explained by Deputy Budget Director Latoya Vaughn of the Office of Budget and Management. We also have department representatives from the Department of Public Health and the Department of Family and Support Services to answer any questions you might have.
Chairman, did Alderman Mitchell join?
Alderman Mitchell is here.
Yes.
Latoya,
Yes, ma'am.
you can go get started.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and the members of the committee. I'm Latoya Vaughn. I'm the Deputy Budget Director here at the Office of Budget and Management. I'm here to present the 925 ordinance amendments. We have $2,473,000,000 in federal changes, as well as $25,000 in state sources and $780,000 in private sources, for a total of $3,278,000. The Department of Public Health is requesting additional federal carryover grant funds in the amount of $312,000 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for the adult viral hepatitis program. This program focuses on expanding hepatitis C virus testing and diagnosis amongst populations experiencing HCV-related disparities. CDPH has implemented interventions such as clinic and provider education to increase testing rates and strengthen policy and identify and reduce barriers to effective HCV treatment. These carryover funds will be distributed to delegate agencies that will be providing testing kits and supplies, as well as provider and staff education. Funding will be awarded to delegate agencies that offer testing, linkages to care, and provider and education capacity building. These services are provided citywide. The Department of Public Health is requesting new federal grant funds in the amount of $1,819,000 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for the Ending the HIV Epidemic Ryan White HIV/AIDS Parts A and Part B program. This program will enhance the public health and community response to strengthening linkages, retention and care, re-engagement, and viral suppression. Funds have impacted the lives of over 10,000 people living with HIV who are not engaged in Ryan White services in the Chicago area by strengthening internal and external programming that promotes linkages, retention, and re-engagement and viral suppression. Funds will provide the enhanced and strengthened interventions that remove barriers to promote the positive health outcomes. These services are also provided citywide. The Department of Public Health is requesting additional state funds in the amount of $25,000 from the Illinois Department of Public Health for the Tobacco-Free Communities Program. The Illinois Tobacco-Free Community Program grant is in its 20th year, and CDPH has used these funds to continue efforts towards eliminating exposure to secondhand smoke and identifying and eliminating tobacco-related health disparities. The budget includes staff and salaries.
Excuse me, Ms. Vaughn.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. Alderman Burnett, you have your hand up. Do you have a point of clarification or information here?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to ask a couple of things. As you know, we've always had challenges with the HIV funding, and we still want to make sure that we don't go through the things we've been through before, and making sure that the minority gay communities get funding.
Okay, Alderman Burnett, I will call you first, but I would like her to finish her report and we'll come back to the questions.
All right, good deal.
All right, thank you. Continue.
The budget includes staff salaries, fringes, supplies, travel expenses, and contracts with our Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, as well as the Purple Group, to develop a media campaign for smoking cessation for the age of during COVID-19. These services are also provided citywide. The Department of Public Health is requesting $10,000 in additional federal pass-through grant funds from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to the Illinois Department of Human Services to support the woman, infant, and children supplemental nutrition program for women, infant, and children provides supplemental foods, healthcare referrals, nutritional education, counseling, breastfeeding, and provide services for over 25,000 clients located in 15 different community areas throughout the city of Chicago. These services are provided citywide. The Department of Family and Support Services is requesting additional federal carryover grant funds in the amount of $10,000 from the Corporation of National and Community Services for the Foster Grandparents Program. The Foster Grandparents Program provides senior volunteers the opportunity to serve as mentors and tutors in the Chicago Public Schools and Head Start programs to children who have been identified at risk of being promoted to the next grade level or falling behind academically. Seniors receive a stipend for their services. Funds will be used to support the one-time stipend augmentation to support the mandatory stipend increase for volunteers from $2.65 to $3 an hour. This increase is permanent moving forward. Currently, there are 148 volunteers, and due to the COVID-19 and the governor's statewide shelter-in-place order, the foster grandparent volunteers have been sheltering in place at their homes, but they're still maintaining contact with their programs and DFSS remotely. The Department of Family and Support Services is requesting additional carryover grant funds in the amount of $5,000 from the Corporation for National and Community Services. This is for the Senior Companion Project Action Program. The Senior Companion Program provides senior volunteers the opportunity to serve as senior companions to other vulnerable seniors and to assist them with special support needs such as shopping and light chores to allow them to continue to live independently in their homes. Additionally, senior companions receive a stipend of $2.65, and we're requesting an increase to $3 an hour. This increase is permanent moving forward. And currently there are 84 senior companion volunteers associated with this program. Due to COVID-19 and the governor's stay-at-home, shelter-at-home order, the senior companion program volunteers have been sheltering in place at their homes, but are still maintaining contact with the senior clients and DFSS remotely. These services are also provided citywide. The Department of Family and Support Services is requesting new private grant funds in the amount of $780,000 from the city's financial empowerment fund for the Summer Jobs Connect program. These funds will be used to support 289 job slots, as well as integrating financial empowerment and banking access into DFSS's Summer Youth Employment Program, which is part of the larger One Chicago program, and they anticipate over 31,000 slots. DFSS is currently exploring options for this year's One Chicago program as the city plans for the unknown. Some options are to provide hybrid support, which means virtual support as well as in-person employment training. Also, the other option is in-person social distancing. These services are also provided citywide. The Chicago Police Department is requesting new federal grant funds in the amount of $317,000 from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for the National Explosives Detection K-9 Program Team. The National Explosives Detection K-9 Team Program provides funding to partially support salaries and fringes for the Chicago Police Department's Transportation Security Administration certified explosive detection and K-9 teams. These programs assist by preparing handlers and K-9s to protect the city against threats or acts of terrorism, and these services are also provided citywide. That concludes all of our 925 grant ordinance amendments in the amount of $3,278,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. We'll head right into questions. Alderman Burnett. Alderman Burnett. Okay. Alderman Sue Garza is here. I see no one has their hand up.
You know I had mine up.
Yeah, I called you, Alderman Burnett. You must have stepped away.
I'm sorry. No, your sound had went out for a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Can I proceed, Madam Chairman?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So, a couple of things. So, on the age, I see that they have 7 organizations they have 5 delegate agencies, 2 professional services, this RFP is gonna go out to. I want to know, who are those organizations that are gonna go out to. We want to make sure that it's equitable, that, everyone has, easy access for, this information.
Absolutely. The departments are required to have a competitive and open bidding process. We post all of our competitive bids on the e-procurement system. And so when the department makes those opportunities available, we'll make sure that they provide notice to the public, which they always do, as well as to the automatic offices.
But it says that the RFPs we release is expected to have 5. So it could go out to everyone and only 5 delegate agencies chosen, 2 professional agencies chosen.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand the question completely. But I
Walter,
think you were
your
asking.
connection is not clear.
I'm having a hard time hearing them
Alderman
too.
Burnett, your connection's not clear.
Oh, I don't know what the deal is with that. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay, so I was asking where it says contract associated. It says, the RFP will be released and is expected to have 5 delegate agencies and 2 professional contracts. Does that mean that everyone can bid on it? That means that everyone can bid on 5 delegate agencies get chosen and 2 professional service contracts get met?
I think you are asking, how do we know it if it's going to be 5 delegate agencies, or why is it limited to 5 delegate agencies?
Right.
And 2 professional?
Right.
Okay.
Ms. Vaughn, would you let Ms. Ayanna answer that question? Is she available?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Hi. Yes.
Will you
This is
answer
Ayanna.
Alderman Burnett's question, please?
Yes. This is Ayanna Thomas, Supervisor of Grants Administration at the Department of Public Health. When we submitted our application, the requirements of the application were that we would have to provide some training to staff, and those would be our technical professional services contracts. With the funds that were remaining, those funds we felt could be distributed among 5 delegate agencies through a competitive process, with each agency receiving a substantial amount of money to complete the work.
So, our concern with that is geographic, right? We like to make sure whatever the agencies are, that the south side and the west side, not just the north side agencies get all of the money. That's a concern of ours. And that has been a concern of the African American, the minority LGBT community all the time in reference to this HIV/AIDS fund. Can you hear me?
You were frozen for a moment, Alderman, but I think from what I've heard is that your concerns have been and continue to be that this money is fairly distributed across the city. CDPH is committed to equity and to equitably distributing these funds across the city, and we'll use that competitive process to do that.
Okay, so we just want to make a note of it. And Madam Chair, is it possible for us to know after the bids are out, who won the bid and who they are?
Yes, we can always have CDPH come back and give us that information.
Right, and then, Madam Chair, on all of these, on all of this funding that's going out to all of the different agencies, I'm not going to go one by one, but I noticed in some of them that with some of them jobs, there are city positions that come with these grants, right? And I just want to know, how are those city positions going to be? How are people going to find out about these city positions that you're going to be looking for these grants? And is there information that we can get for our offices so that we can distribute the opportunity for these positions to people in our community. Like one grant has 15 positions that goes with it. There's 15 positions associated with the grant for the police department. Is that grant with the police department, is that a layman's position, or is that sworn personnel?
Mr. Mullane? Mullin? Mr. Mullin, can you answer that question for the alderman?
The signal on this end was a bit choppy. Would the alderman mind repeating the
He's
question?
asking about the 15 positions under the Chicago Police Department grant. Are those positions for police officers? I guess that's your question, Alderman Burnett, or for civilians?
Civilians, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Chairman. All the positions funded through that grant are for sworn police officers.
Okay. And then for all of the other areas where there's funding at, and that there are jobs that go cities associated with those grants, and the aldermen get the information so that we can let people in our community know to where and when to apply for those positions when they are posted.
So all of our positions that we are posted on the HR website, and everybody can apply using the Taleo. A lot of the positions are funding existing positions that we have. When we do get those
Also,
new,
so they're funding the existing positions.
a lot of the grants that we have that are on this list are funding existing positions, and we do
Okay.
cost allocate our positions as well.
But they're not really new positions.
Exactly. They are just
All right.
positions that help support this program. And a lot of ours are counted by FTE. So they are allocated, they could be allocated across multiple sources.
So so when we do the budget, it'll show up in the budget that these grants are paying for some of those positions.
Depending on the grant program, yes, we can provide the detail into which grant programs are providing support for different positions and the allocations across those grant programs.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Burnett. Alderman Moore? Thank you, Alderman
Yeah.
Burnett.
Yeah.
Alderman Moore?
Yes, thank you. First of all, happy birthday, Chairman. And I just wanted to announce that I'm present.
We have you. Alderman Sadlowski Garza?
Hi, good morning, Chairman, and thank you. I apologize for being late, technical difficulties. I just have a question. Where are these funds coming from to fund these grants? Where's the revenue stream?
So these grant programs are coming from federal sources, the state government, as well as a private source. So the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is one of our federal agencies that's supporting the program, like Ryan White. We have the Illinois Department of Public Health supporting the Tobacco-Free Communities program. And we have private agencies like the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund to support the Summer Jobs Connect program. So all of our grant programs are supported by federal, state, local, and private sources.
And Alderman Garza?
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Garza, on the handouts that you received from our office, the source of funds is identified for each grant program.
Okay, I apologize. I'll have to go back to my email and look for that. I apologize. I just worry about, and this might not be the correct person to ask, but I mean, I know we had a lot of projected revenue from sales tax and hotel tax, amusement tax, the airports. The projected money that we were supposed to get from those entities has changed dramatically, right? I don't know what our projections are moving forward, or how much money we're losing out of that, but maybe we can, maybe through the chair, and I don't even know if this is if Latoya is the correct person.
Latoya is not the correct person to ask for that information. That needs to come from our budget director or our CFO, Jenny Bennett or Susie Park. And this is something that we will have a future meeting on in terms of the status of our current budget and revenue sources going forward.
Perfect. That's all my questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll wait till that then. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Spizzato.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and happy birthday to you this morning, and hope you have a great day today. Just backing up on what my colleague wanted to know about who won the bid. We also know, get information on not only who won it, but also who put, how many put in and who put in. I'd appreciate that information also. And that's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Alderman Spizzato. Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to wish you a happy birthday. I hope you have a great day. We're not all going to drive past the house and honk our horns, so I just want to let you know, like we do around here. But happy birthday. Just to clarify, so these the grants, though, that we're getting, these federal grants, they're all restricted. So we can't take those funds and use them for other purposes, correct?
Correct. Each grant has a focused.
And these were all part of the, the budget, and looking at the budget. This was already anticipated, these grants, correct?
Some of the grants were anticipated and were received at a different amount than what we anticipated. And some are brand new, like the One Summer Chicago, those 780,000, those are new dollars coming in that we did not budget for or include in our 2020 budget. We have received those program funds before, but we did not include those dollars in the 2020 budget. So that's the new request here.
Okay. Okay. That answers. Thank you. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Thompson. Alderman Mitz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question was, with the grant for Department of Public Health, there's a $10,000 amount that was increased, that they have several communities and wards that they are going to be affiliated with this grant. And I was noticing the Austin Clinic in 37th Ward. And I want to know what's the amount of that, the fundings is for that ward, for that particular one.
And that, Ayanna, that's the WIC program. I believe she's referring to.
Yes, that's the WIC program.
And those are dollars that are not funded, or that Austin Clinic is not funded through this program. So I think, Ayanna, could you speak to how much Austin Clinic is getting from the WIC program?
That information I would have to hunt. I'm sorry, this is Ayanna Thomas, Supervisor of Grants Administration at the Department of Public Health. Because these funds because the Austin Clinic is not funded through our dollars that we receive from the state, I would have to hunt down how much money they're receiving from other agencies.
We can provide that through the chair.
Yes.
You can get it through the chair. Thank you.
Is that it, Alderman Mitz?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Seeing no other.
I have a question.
Your sound went out.
Who is that said they had a question?
Your sound went.
My sound went out?
It's here now.
Okay. Seeing, does anyone else have a question? Alderman King.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see me.
Now
just
I
wanna
do.
add my happy birthdays to you,
Oh, thank you.
Chairman. But I also just had a question on the 780,000 appropriated to DFSS for the One Summer Chicago. I assume they're still thinking through how those funds will be used given social distancing. Are there any thoughts on that? I'm just curious. And how were the delegate agencies chosen for that?
That'll be Jackie from DFSS.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I also have Lisa Davis, who's the director of our Summer Youth Employment Program, so she can best answer both of those questions.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Davis with Department of Family and Support Services, Director of One Summer Chicago. At this time, we are waiting to see if we will be having a 6-week virtual program or a hybrid of 4 weeks virtual, 2 weeks in person with social distancing. In terms of the 2 agencies that were chosen, we've had this program or this grant, it's been renewed for the past 6 years. We have learned that we have spread the money over 6 organizations. These 2 agencies were always involved. They were chosen for this time because they normally always spend their funds down 100%. And they have a strong financial department. So if we need to pivot, it could be done very quickly. But these funds are to serve all of Chicago. The money is just run through those organizations.
Just curious on that hybrid program. How do you guys anticipate that working? If you've thought through it,
Currently, we are working to have all of our youth to have devices if need be for the program. Majority of our youth in the past, the data shows 80%, my apologies, 80% of the youth in the program are CPS students. We're anticipating that the schools will continue to allow the youth to have their devices through the summer. And we are currently looking for funding and adjusting our budgets to provide devices for the other participants if need be.
I thought you mentioned there may be some in person, that would be the hybrid. That was the piece I was curious about.
My apologies.
That's okay. Is that not the case, or?
It is the case at this time that the last 2 weeks, the agencies have the option to do a in-person for 2 weeks. Whether the last week may be, for example, the capstone project to be shown, and or the last week to be used for the young people to come in to sign their documents. Due to the fact that the first 4 weeks are virtual, their enrollment and signature of documents will be needed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, when does this program get started? When will you know?
We are, for DFSS, our portion of the program is scheduled to start July 6th for 6 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. Alderman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Of course, happy birthday today. Ms. Davis, normally we have about 35,000 students participate in the One Summer Chicago Is there any anticipation due to this pandemic that we're gonna do for this summer?
Our target for this summer before the pandemic was 30,000 plus. With the pandemic, we are trying to keep that number stable, but we do understand that there is a possibility that that number will come down due to the pandemic. But I cannot speculate what that will be.
So how can we encourage participation, or do the city want us to do that?
Encourage our participants and the youth of the city of Chicago to apply. The application is still open. It is online.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. When's the closing date for that application, Ms. Davis?
There is not at this time a solid close date. There is a apply by that is being extended until, my apologies, the date escapes me. I would have to get back to you on that date.
Okay, if you could get back to us, or just send it, yes, get back to us. Thank you. Alderman Osterman?
I also want to join everyone in saying happy birthday, Chairman. Ms. Davis, a question about the program. If the estimate is that we'd have 30,000 students, typically this time of year, my colleagues and I and schools in our communities are really trying to get people to sign up. Would you have the ability to know how many kids have signed up or teens have signed up to date?
Yes, to date, I'm looking at the dashboard as we speak. We have 34,442 completed applications.
Okay, so there has been a healthy amount of young people that have signed up already, and those applications are still open, so we could still encourage young people to sign up for that. In your description of how the program will be run, given the crisis that we're in, the anticipation is that most of it will be virtual, with some work potentially coming in at the tail end of the program. Have you been in any conversations with the Park District or any other government agencies about use of young people for any initiatives related to COVID as far as outside work or projects?
The Park District is one of our partners under the One Summer Chicago umbrella. In addition to the Park District, there's CPS, Chicago Housing Authority, After School Matters, Forest Preserve, Chicago Transit Authority, and Lincoln Park Zoo. So we are in communication with them, and they have their separate programs, separate from DFSS. And I'm sorry, sir, the second part of your question was?
Just that if there were socially distanced things for the young people, the question was, are those conversations happening now? And I think all this is driven by the health and making sure that we're not putting anyone at harm's risk. I was just curious if those conversations were going on and how to use them. But I guess I'll take your answer that most of this will be virtual for this summer. And then we'll see how things develop over the next few weeks. So no further questions.
Thank you, Alderman Osterman. Alderman Garza?
Thank you, Chairman Dahl, and happy birthday. You don't look a day over 20. My question is just kind of to build off of what Alderman Osterman said. Most of it's going to be done virtually. You said that you're partnering with other agencies, but let's not forget to partner with the census. There are some neighborhoods that are still really lacking in census outreach and people not completing the forms. And it's hard to get out because of the COVID thing, but might be able to utilize some of these young people to help with census outreach. my next question is the capstone, will it be one specific capstone across for all 30,000 or what does the capstone look like, I guess?
So in regards to the census, we are meeting currently with various organizations to see about the youth reaching out with the census via phone, using robocall, so no numbers are exchanged or exposed. As far as the capstone project, there are various organizations. For example, DFSS manages 47 agencies that implements our part of One Summer. And currently, they all may have their own capstone project.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Garza. Ms. Davis, another question I might have is, have you thought about perhaps working these youth into doing some contact tracing for CDPH? Is this a possibility? Have you looked into that in terms of finding things for these young people to do?
When you say CDPH, I'm not quite clear what
The
kind.
department, we're in the middle of COVID, and one of the things that the department is trying to do is implement contact tracing to be able to figure out who a person who might be infected has come in contact with. I assume some of this work can be done over the phone and can be done virtually. Have you thought about perhaps working with CDPH to place some of these young people to help the city meet their requirements here?
Thank you, Alderman. I will share the information with our executives. Currently, I have not thought of that. I think that is an excellent idea, and I will share it with our Commissioner Butler.
All right. Thank you very much. I would like to hear back from you on that and the other questions raised by my colleague. If there's no one that has any more questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval of item number 2 on the agenda.
Move to pass.
Alderman Mitz moves to pass. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the do pass recommendation of this ordinance will be reported at the next city council meeting on May 20th. Item number 3 on the agenda is an ordinance introduced by Alderman Brendan Reilly of the 42nd Ward, approving the transfer of funds within the City Council's Legislative Reference Bureau for the year 2020. This ordinance transfers $3,000 from commodities and materials to contractual services. Alderman Reilly, would you speak to your ordinance?
Yes, thanks, Madam Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is a small transfer of monies to allow for the execution of a contract with legal research services, I believe, and some equipment. It's a minor shift in monies to allow for those expenditures. And I appreciate a favorable vote.
Seeing that there are no questions on this.
So
is there a
moved.
So moved. Who did that?
Alderman Smith.
Thank you, Alderman Smith. Alderman Smith so moves. On the motion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the do pass recommendation of this ordinance will be reported out at the next city council meeting on May 20th.
Thank you, Madam.
Oh, you're welcome, Alderman Reilly.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda, the appointment of Kenneth Williams as Director of Council, Office of Fiscal Analysis for a 4-year term effective immediately. Mr. Williams is available to answer any questions, and I know he has a statement. I would like to say before he speaks that as part of the record, written public comment from John Paul Jones, president of Sustainable Inglewood Initiatives, was sent to the committee in support of the nomination of Kenneth Williams. Mr. Williams,
Good morning and happy birthday, Chairman.
thank you.
I'll start off. I'm a Chicago native and an accomplished professional providing executive leadership and financial management across diverse operations in both the public and private sector for over 20 years. I'm well versed in financial operations of city and county ordinance, as well as state statutes, government contracts, and tax law. I leverage my advanced analytical and problem-solving skills to drive effective and strategic business decisions. I offer subject matter expertise in the areas of budgeting, cost reduction, revenue generation, strategic planning, business administration, organizational redesign, forecasting, and contract negotiations. I hold a master's of business administration with a concentration in public administration from Roosevelt University of Chicago, and a bachelor's of science with a concentration in business administration and management from Drake University of Des Moines, Iowa. I have served the Chicago community organizations as a volunteer for nearly 30 years, working from soup kitchens to active leadership and as an executive board member. I look forward to providing independent analysis, reports, and recommendations. I look to rebrand and redefine COFA as your go-to resource for finance and budgeting needs. Thank you.
Okay, before we take questions, I retain the right to close, and we'll start with Alderman Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to add my support for this appointment. Known Ken for many years, and it all started knowing him through his work while I was at the Chicago Housing Authority back in the mid 2000s. And Ken at that time came with a team with great experience, and on that team, that financial team, got a lot of national awards. Probably Ken didn't even mention that, but it was attributed to people like him that was working on that financial team at CHA. And then just the work that he's done at both the county and the city. He's proven to be a person that you can get information from and rely on, especially when it relates to financial information, and someone that you can break down. What I like about him, he, at least from our side as aldermen, when you go to a person you need information, he'll get you that information. And just him working on your team, Chairman, he's been very amenable to not only answering questions when we reached out, but being proactive. And that's the part I like, the proactivity part of a person who can just reach out. So this is definitely an appointment that I can support and stand by. And I thank you, Chairman, for seeing the goodness in terms of qualifications in Ken to help elevate him to this position. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderman Moore. Alderman Hairston.
Thank you, Chairman. I too support this appointment. I've known Kenny for many, many years. I know his work ethic, and I know that he has been responsive each and every time I have requested anything from him. I think he is well deserving of this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hairston. Alderman Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too just want to congratulate Ken and congratulate the excellent choice. Your reputation speaks for yourself, speaks for himself. But as we move forward, I think during these difficult times, to have somebody of his caliber to help us and guide us and give us the counsel and advice that we're going to need to make some real tough decisions going forward. I look forward to working with him. And again, I congratulate him and look forward to working with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Thompson. Alderman Ervin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I too wanted to echo the support for the appointee. Again, reading his resume and actually having an opportunity to confer on some previous items with him. He seems to be well suited for the position. And I think this is an excellent choice. Thank you much.
Alderman Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You know, Alderman Dow and I and former Alderman Pawar worked a long time to create the Office of Council of Financial Analysis, thanks to the support of so many people in City Council. And under Chairman Dow's leadership, this office is really beginning to achieve its potential. And I think that in the future, it will be even more impactful. And Mr. Williams has been a very diligent person, and he has good qualifications. And I really wish him well. I think that we will all be very, very grateful to Chairman Dow for her support of this office and recognizing its independence, something that council has needed for a really very, very long time. In these challenging times ahead that we will have, that independent voice is more important than ever. So I want to say congratulations to Mr. Williams and to you, Chairman Dow, on your selection. And I look forward to working with everyone on this in the future.
Thank you, Alderman Smith. I just wanted to tell the Budget Committee members that our office performed an extensive search for a COFA director. We received countless numbers of resumes, many of them, frankly, from outside of the city of Chicago and outside of the state. And we interviewed over a half dozen excellent candidates. I want to thank Alderman Smith and Alderman Harris and Alderman Osterman for their time and consideration during this process. And I want to thank everyone that was interested in this job. It's heartening to know that there were so many overqualified people that want to work to improve the city of Chicago. But it was clear from talking to all of the candidates that Ken was the best person to lead this office. He has extensive experience managing government budgets. He's got a great educational background, as has been noted. And he has already been in the office carrying out his duties as a budget analyst with an inside knowledge of how COFA functions and the city of Chicago functions. And now he's taking that information and experience to his role as director. I was most impressed, frankly, with some of his ideas to improve the fiscal situation of the city of Chicago. They were very well thought out and grounded in reality. And I'm confident that he can lead this office and its important work. I look forward to his confirmation today. And if there are no more questions, I will take a motion to—
Alderman Harris moves to pass.
Alderman Harris moves to pass on the appointment of Ken Williams as COFA director. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this do pass recommendation will be reported out at the next city council meeting on May 20th. Congratulations, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Thank you all.
There being no further business before the committee, if there is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Mitz. Will the aldermen make sure their mics are unmuted? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, no.
Aye.
In the opinion of the chairs, the ayes have it, and the committee meeting is adjourned. I wish
Happy
everyone—
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.